Good morning. I'd like to play a song for you today that I wrote to express my feelings in the early days of a project that has come to be known as the Wallis Annenberg Wildlife Overpass. That project has been years in the making, and I'm thrilled to note that we finally broke ground on it this week. If you didn't know, it's a freeway overpass specifically constructed for animals in western LA County, Southern California, and it will reconnect a historic migration route that's really important to local wildlife. That route was cut off. Then we built the 101 freeway more than 60 years ago, and ever since, animals have been dying on that road, experiencing all kinds of negative impacts from the habitat fragmentation it causes. It took years of hard work by a bunch of very dedicated people to help us understand the nature of the problem, to come up with a plan to fix it, and to raise the money to implement that plan. And this week, we broke ground and started building it. It's really cool. I'd like to dedicate this song to everyone who's helped support this project and get us to this point, but to no one more an amazing environmental educator and organizer and activist, Beth Pratt of the National Wildlife Federation, and to LA's own home cat, Puma 22, without either of whom this project would not be happening at this time. You guys rock, and this song's for you. No more Pumas dying, trapped and desperate in the hills of our town. No more time to lose, we gotta fix the linkages we broke and turn this tragedy around. People built the freeway, we didn't know it would become a wildlife Berlin Wall, but people learn from their mistakes, and a whole lot of people really love animals, and that's why we are gathered here today. We're gonna help our animal friends get across the 101 freeway. Incest when they're crowded and stressed because the highway cut off their migration route. No more Pumas getting run down on the streets of our fair city because there is simply no way out of the mountains. A whole lot of people love our mountains and the wildlife in our mountains in the backyards of LA, but the wildlife in the mountains is cut off by the freeway. Freeways like the 101 that we drive every day, and that's why we are gathered here today. We're working on building a wildlife crossing over the 101 freeway. No more Pumas run down on our highways at night. Not on our watch, not when we know how to make this right. No more wildlife needs to die, no more blood need to be spilled, and we won't rest until the wildlife crossing is built. Fact, our road took away their road and it's killing them. Let's give it back. No more questions about what's right. Our freeway cut off their neighborhood. We need to build something to reunite our mountains and the wildlife in our mountains with the wildlife in the larger mountain ranges that lie north a ways. People made this problem and people can make it end. We need to build a safe way across the freeway for our animal friends, and that's why we are gathered here today. We're gonna help our animal friends get across the 101 freeway. 2, 3, 4. Love these mountains and the wildlife in these mountains. They made the parks we have today. Now our wildlife is hurting. For them it could be curtains. If we turn our backs, we'll leave our grandkids empty parks someday. But we're not gonna let that happen. We want wildlife in LA. We are gonna right that wrong. Fixing it begins today. Millions of us join in common cause to raise the funds to pay to build an overpass for animals. Construction's on the way, and when we see them crossing on the wildlife cam, we'll all shout hooray, yeah. No more Pumas run down on our highways at night. Not an hour much, not when we know how to make this right. No more wildlife needs to die, no more blood need to be spilled, and we won't rest until the wildlife crossing is built. People, Californians, fellow Angelinos, once again it's time for us to take a stand and lead the way. Let's take care of our own, make LA a better home, and be proud these noble beasts still roam the parkland our grandparents saved. And that's why we are gathered here today. We're gonna help our animal friends get across the 101 freeway. That's why we are gathered here today. We're gonna build the first urban wildlife crossing in the USA.